UFC 297. This is the weigh-in recap show, full card predictions, and the betting breakdown. Looking forward to talking about each of the matchups on this card after seeing the fighters on the scales. So make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on and make sure to share the video as well. And also note, I'll be live for the entire UFC 297 fight card Saturday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't miss the fight, companion. And let's start it off. First fight on the card, we got Malcolm Gordon versus Jimmy Flick. I'm nervously picking Jimmy Flick in this fight here. I take it as an interesting note that Gordon came in overweight at 127.5. And like, he didn't look great on the scales either. Jimmy Flick is no top tier striker. Gordon's had durability issues in the past, but in all honesty, as Jimmy Flick has also had. We'll look at them on the scales. We'll see if there's any, feelings of shift here, but it was definitely a hard cut for Gordon. It's definitely a what if, but that could cause him to gas into the later stages of the fight. He definitely looked pretty sucked out. Not horrible in his face from what you can see, like looking at the cheeks, but he has the beard. But the eyes definitely tell a tale of a strong cut there, a big dehydration. And then Jimmy Flick, he kind of also has a sucked in look, but he tends to. He was on weight. He cracked a little smile. Emotionally, he seemed to be in better spirits. I think that he's probably feeling better than Malcolm Gordon was. Jimmy Flick is going to be the pick as an underdog by submission. Gordon is way too wide of a favorite here. You can see them facing off. I think this is a game fight. Where I look at Jimmy Flick's advantage is pure Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu edge. In the striking department, Gordon has the speed and athleticism edge, right? Nonetheless, big thing about Gordon is he's not this heavy power puncher, so I don't have this tremendous concern of Jimmy Flick getting counter shot KO'd on the feet. I think even though Flick has a limited stand-up game, it's not going to be all that vast of a striking differential. When they go to the floor, I think Flick is very live to win by sub. I'm picking Jimmy Flick to get it done. I will call a submission in this fight, and Flick is a very wide underdog. What's interesting is at open, we had a near even fight. A lot of money has come down on Malcolm Gordon, and he swelled to that minus 205 tag with Flick at plus 175. I think Flick's a valuable dog. Now, he's a bet that you'd be making on one of the lower tier flyweights in the UFC. Both of these guys are, and that's just the honest truth of it. But Flick did have a win over Cody Durden before deciding to retire. And then obviously some unfortunate matchups in his comeback with, as of recent, Alessandro Costa. Before that, Charles Johnson. It's a concerning matchup. Flick to win by submission where he does it best. I'm seeing plus 300. I think this plus 1800 has got to be off. If you're at Jazz Sportsbook, though, check it out. If it's plus 1,800, are you kidding me? Throw down on Flick by sub, absolutely. Plus 300 isn't as good, but I do think it's live as well. But you have a pretty solid money line with Flick at plus 175. Malcolm Gordon, a popular pick throughout the week, and he's obviously swelled into a large favorite. He's also Canada's own. But I believe in Jimmy the Brick Flick for an upset. Not telling you bet the house. Not telling you to bet anything. I'm just giving you my thought process here. I think Flick does have a chance to win this fight. So we're going with Jimmy Flick via submission in this first fight. Next fight on the card, we got Jasmine Jasudavicius versus Priscilla Cachoeira. I think Jasudavicius should be able to out-grapple Cachoeira, but a big concern about this fight is it was initially booked for 125 pounds. Cachoeira informed the UFC, hey, I can't make 25, let's do 35. Jasudavicius agreed. Now you have two girls of similar stature. We'll bring up the face-off between these two. And Cachoeira, without a heavy weight cut, is definitely going to have more grappling strength and stamina than she would have if this fight was at 125, where it was supposed to take place. Cachoeira has been a rule bender in the past, so she's a dangerous girl in certain matchups. If we're caught striking, I worry for Jasudavicius a bit, but nonetheless, she should be successful with takedowns. There's zombie girl, Cachoeira. And then there's Jasudavicius. Now, when we look at the face-off, I think mentally I anticipated Cachoeira to look, a bit smaller. But in all honesty, I've always felt that 135, Cachoeira's got some legit punching power. She just can't compete with the upper echelon. She's bigger. This is a little bit of a red flag. And as wide as Jasudavicius is as a favorite in this fight, now I start to worry a little bit. Because if we are caught striking, right, and Priscilla Cachoeira is able to fend off takedowns, she could land shots. This is by no means a pick flip, but it's a cautionary tale for a matchup that was initially supposed to take place at 125. And this is now at 135, where all the, in my opinion, advantages would lie towards the side of Priscilla Cachoeira. Still, I will pick Jasudavicius to win. Now, I initially called her for a win by sub. Looking at moneyline odds, it's minus 370 Jasudavicius, Cachoeira plus 295. Jasudavicius by sub all the way at plus 350. I worry about the sub actually hitting, especially if Cachoeira now is filled out and strong on the ground. Minus 105 decision could be live, and then Cachoeira by KO plus 500. She knocked out Lipski. She's got hands. She's got power. Cachoeira can definitely throw some heat. I still am picking Jasudavicius, but my confidence has diminished a bit with this weight class shift. That's worrisome. Both girls came in under 135. Cachoeira 33.5. Jasudavicius 133 flat. We'll go Jasudavicius. We'll stick with sub, but submission could definitely end up hitting here. And just, a little bit of a yellow flag that we'll raise with the weight class being jumped up. But nonetheless, Jasudavicius should be the better fighter, should be clearly the better grappler, and I do think she wears Cachoeira down and submits her. Next fight on the card, we got Yohan Lainesse versus Sam Patterson. My pick in this fight has been Yohan Lainesse all week long. I feel like he is going to deliver some big shots on the feet. Sam Patterson is a decent kickboxer, but he is pretty hittable over the top. His chin tends to be a little high. He's also a very tall guy at 155. But no, he decided to move up to 170 pounds. He's facing someone who's similar in stature and reach. There is no size advantage for Sam Patterson. At 155, for the most part, he will be the tallest and longest guy in the weight class, tied with the likes of like Jalen Turner. But that's a rarity. And at 170, Sam Patterson's still tall, but fighting a guy with a naturally larger frame. We'll look at the physiques of these two and kind of compare a little muscularity so you can get an idea of what I mean. So there is Sam Patterson, who, albeit I think has put on a bit of muscle mass for this jump to 170. I initially had said throughout the week on Instagram he didn't look noticeably bigger. I definitely think he has a little more gains on him. Not all clean gains, probably not as lean and dried out as he was cutting down to 155, but he's filling the frame a bit more. And then there's Lainesse, who looks like, his typical self. Lainesse is a banger. He was excited to be there. And I think we got a pretty banging fight that's coming at us, man. Let's look here. All right. There is the face-off between these two. Nose to nose. I still think Sam Patterson's smaller physically, right? He's taller, sure. But muscularity, strength on the inside, punching power, it's all going to favor Lainesse. Is Sam Patterson going to have a better chin at 170? On paper, I would say yes, but in actuality, we don't know. And he's definitely taking on a heavier puncher in Yohan Lainesse than Yanal Ashmouz. Now, I know Ashmouz is a quality striker, but he's significantly smaller than Lainesse. And, mass does equal force, which equals knockout power here. And I think Yohan Lainesse sleeps Sam Patterson in this fight. Now, as far as the betting lines for the matchup, Lainesse is minus 140. We got close money. Patterson plus 120 as an underdog. If it starts to, go towards later rounds, I do worry of Lainesse's gas tank. That's just, a concern with him is in the third round, he does slow down. End of the second, he does slow down. Knockout win for Yohan Lainesse is my official prediction here. It sits at plus 125 with Patterson to win by sub. What is that? Plus 300? I don't know. These jazz inflated props got to be fake. No fucking way. If those are real, that's crazy. I think Lainesse finds the dome and chins the somewhat chinny Sam Patterson here. So I am feeling pretty good about Lainesse. I mean, he looks solid on the scale. Nothing from there would change my mind on him. I'll say Patterson maybe looked a little larger physically, frame-wise, than I anticipated. But in all actuality, still, frame-wise is at a disadvantage, I think, with Lainesse, who's going to be stronger and definitely more powerful. I think Patterson ends up getting dropped here. We're going Yohan Lainesse in Canada with a knockout win. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, ladies going after it. It's Gillian Robertson versus Polyana Viana. I've been picking Gillian Robertson to out-grapple and eventually submit Polyana Viana here. I think that's a live method of victory for her, but in all honesty, we have to respect Viana going long with Tabitha Ricci, but last fight out, Yasmin Lucindo, who's an up-and-coming prospect, submitted her. And I think Gillian Robertson, even though she will be consistently, right, looking to take down and control, she's going to work towards subs. Robertson is notorious for winning fights by submission. You can see the subs there lined up, even a Priscilla Cachoeira sub, which is why I got confidence in Jasudavicius to strangle her or armbar him or some type of submission. I think Robertson can find the sub here too. Now we'll look at the ladies on the scales. Let's check them out. Let's scroll down. There is Polyana Viana, sick ink, sick physique, savage septum piercing. She looks great on the scale. And then there's Gillian Robertson, who looks ready to rock, in very good shape as well. And then we got the face-off between these two ladies. Let's pull this face-off up. Statures are similar, though, as expected. The scales is not really going to tell me a ton about this fight. I didn't anticipate much thought change from the scales, and I'm not going to get much thought change from the scales. I like that they're both nose-to-nose almost and standing firm, so we got a good fight on the way. I think Gillian Robertson is going to be able to get this fight to her world, which is grappling, and she will find the finish. So we're going Gillian Robertson, win via submission in this fight here. Robertson is a big favorite at -304, but I think she's got the tools to win. It's just the odds are not pretty. Plus 254 for Polyana Viana. Looking at Robertson to win this thing via submission, plus 140, with a decision for Robertson at plus 225. Yeah, we're going with Gillian. Gillian for the win. Submission call. I don't see Viana with the striking prowess to chin her. I mean, yeah, she knocked out Jin Frey pretty quick, but I don't see Robertson just sitting there to get cracked in the face. I think she'll be looking to get this fight to the floor, and her striking's competent enough that could lead her into takedowns. I think Robertson using the grappling, winning by submission. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we got Sidey versus Raymond Taveras. The second fight between these two. And Taveras missed weight again. Something to note for the people. My pick here is Sidey to pull this off. I think that he should be able to outstrike Taveras. Bad look again. Taveras missing weight for this same fighter, right? Him and Sidey last time out. Taveras was off weight. And that's actually funny. On Instagram, Taveras said he hadn't missed weight since he was an amateur. And somebody corrected him on Twitter and was like, no, bro. You missed weight last time you were scheduled to fight Sidey. I got to pick Sidey to outstrike him. Little bit of a length advantage, but where he will shine is kickboxing range. And I do think Taveras is a guy who's willing to put himself in the line of fire. And sure, that can be a big success because he's heavy-handed. But on the opposite end, Sidey has good straights, enough power that I think he can drop Taveras again. He dropped him last time. Yeah, it was an early stoppage. But this is not necessarily a fight that we needed to run back. I kind of find it odd that they're even doing the rematch. To me, Sidey should rinse and repeat what he was able to do before. I think Taveras has a fun style, and I like his look, and I think he's marketable. But I think Sidey is a pretty well-rounded prospect, and I see him beating him again. I don't think anything changes here besides absolute answer instead of like a what if the ref didn't jump in. We'll see Taveras, who looks upset. He missed weight, and he doesn't really look shredded for this fight either here. And then on the opposite end, Sidey looking absolutely shredded, in amazing shape. To me, I see Sidey pulling this off. I think Taveras will build a name in fighting, but I have this weird feeling that we're going to see him under the BKFC banner after some fights, man. And now, this is not me wishing a downfall on him. I just think his style is brawling, and a technical guy like Sidey in MMA will find and exploit holes. And, you know, he did last time. He didn't get the absolute finish because of an early stoppage, but he still dropped him. And we have seen Taveras knocked out against a 5-5 fighter some fights ago before, so the chin is in question. There's the face-off. Obviously, Sidey a bit taller, and I think he should win this thing. We're going Sidey for the W in Canada. And actually, post weigh-in, I feel more confident on him. I just think he looked in amazing shape, whereas Taveras didn't look in as good a physical shape. And I also think the weight miss is not a great look because he didn't look extremely sucked out. I don't know where his head is at. Now, sure, that can be employed as a tactic to have an advantage over your opponent, but a technician like Sidey, I still think he makes Taveras pay. Minus 175 for Sidey, Taveras plus 150. This fight for Sidey to win via KO, plus 225. We're going Sidey. I am going to call a knockout. I think he snipes Taveras for a second time. Not really crazy about the over-unders here because I think you got risk. I mean, under 2.5, minus 205, that to me is sensible. That to me could happen. But I wouldn't want to throw it all in the under 1.5, even if I do think it ends in the first. But I think it's live first, second, or third. Or Taveras could end up going long and Sidey out kickboxes him and even mixes in grappling. But Sidey, nonetheless, is going to be the pick by knockout in this fight. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we have Charles Jourdain versus Sean Woodson. I've been picking Sean Woodson, and that's a pretty against the grain, according to the people. And even the Tapology folks, 82%, even wider on Tapology against me. Why do I have Sean Woodson? He has a long striking advantage, right? His distance striking is going to be an edge. 78 to 69 inch reach, 6'2 to 5'9", boxing background, touches up shots pretty well. I think he moves pretty solid too. Yes, Jourdain could hurt him with a big shot over the top, and the leg kicks are going to be something Jourdain will look to. And also, I believe there's a chance he mixes in some grappling here. But Sean Woodson, not going to be an easy guy to body and take down because he has such a large frame for this 45-pound weight class. Now, I don't mean he's jacked. He's got a large frame because he's freakishly tall and long. Let's look at him on the scale here. There is Sean Woodson. 6'2", 78-inch reach. He has the same reach as Sam Patterson, who's got long arms for 170, and he's a 45er. With a boxing background, though. I like that boxing background. And then there's Charles Jourdain on the other side. He looks sick on the scale, man. Jourdain's a savage. He's a fan favorite in Canada. I get it. And I think that he's in one of those weird stylistic clashes that sometimes, don't go the way of the crowd favorite. There's the face-off here. I think that Sean Woodson can pull off a competitive back-and-forth decision. I have seen people say they think he's going to get strangled because his neck is long. It don't look that long there. And I don't think he's going to be the one engaging the grappling in this fight. And Jourdain does a good job with counter-grappling and then finding subs. I think we're going to see Sean Woodson on the feet, touch up Jourdain a bit. Jourdain will still have moments in the fight nonetheless. I'm not saying he has no moments, but he'll lose on the cards. Now, as far as the odds for this fight here, Jourdain, minus 214. Woodson, plus 184. And looking at Sean Woodson to win via decision, plus 245. I do think he takes it on the judges' scorecards, but I'm not telling you to bet that decision. If you are on the Sean Woodson side, if you see the range edge and you agree with me, but some of you might be totally against me. I can see it in the comments, so let me know in the comments. I think a lot of you are going to say, nah, Team Jourdain for life. I think Woodson's live at plus 184. If you like fade in the picks, well, then maybe Jourdain's your lock of the week. We'll find out. But I got Sean Woodson. I got upset. I got underdog. I got range advantage. I got the boxer. I think Sean Woodson can pull off a competitive decision. We're going Sean Woodson underdog to win this fight here. And let's keep running. Next fight on the card. It is our featured prelim of the night. It's Brad Katona versus Garrett Armfield. I'm picking Brad Katona. Brad Katona is the most Chad nerd to ever exist in history. The dude is calm, cool, and collected, and the face-off kind of got crazy. Now, I'll talk about the face-off in a sec, but matchup-wise, I think Brad Katona can out-fight IQ Armfield. I also think he mixes in some grappling, finds some shots on the feet. I think Armfield looks to come at him hard, and then there, on the opposite end, Katona will find counters to attack, whether it's striking or engaging in grappling. Katona's a two-time Ultimate Fighter winner. He's beaten solid names through tough. He beat Timur Valiev, who was supposed to be like a great UFC guy coming up. I mean, realistically, he was a World Series of Fighting savage. Then he came into the UFC and he underdelivered, but Katona still goes and fights a guy like him who's a high caliber opponent. And then his long run through MMA, like on paper, 13-2, not a big experience advantage. He's been around forever. And like I said, he's won the Ultimate Fighter twice. You add 4 fights from just the Ultimate Fighter, that's massive. SBG Ireland guy, I think he fights to a calculated decision over Armfield. We'll look at them on the scales. Armfield, solid shape, ready to go. He's a decent prospect, 1-1 in the UFC. Last time out, he got a nice knockout. And then there's Katona, who's looking to, keep some rhythm going in the UFC and finally, stick around. I should probably shrink myself down so you guys can see everything. I'll scroll up again if you didn't get a good look at either one. Let me bring up the face-off between these two. Let's get this face-off. So I'll tell you, it was really interesting because Armfield is just screaming at first in the face of Brad Katona. And Katona, stoic, just looking into his soul with no emotion. Calm, cool, collected, and confident. Did not flinch one bit. I'm telling you, Chad nerd, silent killer type of guy. I think Brad Katona, he actually is going to do well in this fight. The intensity Armfield's bringing, could it be a lack there of confidence? So he's trying to sell it. Is he trying to get in Brad's head? That's just not a tactic that's going to work with a vet like him. I think Armfield's going to come out hard in this fight, and I think Katona's going to have the counters, man. He's going to have the answer to the test, and we're going Brad Katona for the win. Let's fucking go. Odds for the fight, Brad Katona is -212 with Garrett Armfield at +181. I think Katona wins it by a decision. Over 2.5, -180. Katona on the judges' scorecards sitting at +115. Just a slight plus money. But he does probably win a decision here. I think Armfield will be game, but Katona outworks him and gets 3 rounds on him. So we're going Katona by decision to close out the prelims. Main card opener. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. It's Arnold Allen versus Movsar Evloev. I've been picking Movsar Evloev to win a decision in this fight. I think he can beat Arnold Allen. I think he's competitive in the stand-up and even has moments of his own. And I think he can time takedowns here and control Allen a bit. I think Evloev is kind of being slept on a bit because of a competitive fight with Diego Lopez. Now, you'll say slept on, but he's the favorite. Well, the people are 59% towards Allen, and I've seen it wider. It seems like Arnold Allen has a ton of love as an underdog this week, and I understand the mentality because he's a savage and scrappy dog and a guy that's going to fight hard. But I think Evloev, at the end of it, will be the one getting his hand raised and will remain undefeated. I know Arnold Allen went long with Holloway. He had a couple moments. He's beaten Dan Hooker, the injury win over Calvin Kattar. But I think Movsar Evloev can get a staple W here, man. And I think he's legit as far as these 45 prospects go. And right now, -190, he is a bit of a favorite, of course. And that makes a lot of sense. Even though a lot of people are on Arnold Allen, it's not like we've seen that line completely collapse to even. There is Movsar, who looks shredded, jacked, ready to go. He's a silent killer. He doesn't say a lot either. And he didn't get asked questions at the press conference. And then there's Arnold Allen on the other side. Let's see here. Face off between these two featherweights, which, in all honesty, depending on circumstance, like the winner of this fight could be close to contention. Could be fighting Volkanovski if Volk wins. If Topuria wins, then obviously there's a chance of an immediate rematch, a high chance. Evloev, he's flown under the radar for a while. I think he wins this one here. There's the face off. Evloev by decision. I think he's got him. I think Evloev wins this thing. Looking at the odds, it's -180 for Movsar Evloev, and then it's Arnold Allen +155. I think we're probably going over at -350, but that's ugly. I think Evloev straight in a parlay is actually not a crazy idea. Evloev on the cards is -135, but what's crazy is if he gets a knockout, it's +1200. Now, Evloev, he's not chinning people left and right in the UFC, but never say never, and that is a wide-ass line, so just something worth noting. I think that Movsar, though, will remain undefeated, and I think you're looking at somebody that could be a sleeper in the 145-pound weight class and potentially be challenging for a belt this year. If he beats Arnold Allen, he's damn close to it. If he's not the #1 contender after this one more fight, and he probably will be, maybe the Ortega-Yair winner. Yeah, the pick will be Evloev, though. I think he beats Arnold. Let's keep running up. Next fight on the card, we got Chris Curtis versus Marc-Andre Barriault. Love this matchup. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think both these guys bring the heat. I'm picking Marc-Andre Barriault to win a grimy, competitive, dirty boxing-based decision. I think that Barriault's going to get in Curtis's face well, and I think where Barriault will shine is pressing Chris Curtis towards that cage. And it's not about just landing takedowns, though, for Barriault. He actually has quality Muay Thai knees and elbows, and I think those are factors in this fight. Obviously, Chris Curtis is punching power, and a lot of people will point to Chidi Njokuani and say, okay, he knocked him out, so then Curtis will too. The MMA math doesn't work, and Chidi caught Barriault so cold in that fight. I think Marc-Andre Barriault can pull this one out. He's repping Canada. He also trains at a great gym in Kill Cliff FC. Now, granted, Chris Curtis had a great gym too, Extreme Couture, where Strickland's fighting out of. So both guys got good teams behind them. Younger guy, Barriault. I don't know. I just like the upward momentum for Barriault, and I think that stylistically this won't be an easy fight for the action man, Chris Curtis. So I'm going to pick Barriault for an upset. Let's look at these guys real quick. Let's look at these savages. There is Marc-Andre Barriault, who honestly blurred out like that for a second. I thought it was Alex Pereira. Then on the other side, we got Chris Curtis. He looks goofy, laughing. You know how Chris Curtis is. These guys were hyped, too. Facing off with one another, Curtis was just pumped. He's excited to throw down, and I think he's got a good dance partner for Saturday. These guys are going to bring heat. Very positive face-off. Two guys know they're about to get into a damn scrap, but all love and respect between the two of them. Smiles on both sides. Love the heat. Yeah, I'm picking Barriault. I think he ends up edging him. I think he pulls this off. Competitive, but he pulls it off. Barriault's a solid dog here, plus 155. And then Curtis, minus 180 is the favorite. I just got a feeling for Marc-Andre, man. Minus 155 for the over 2.5. Don't think Marc-Andre Barriault has no chin just because he got caught by Chidi Njokuani. Like, it's not like Barriault is Mr. Glass Joe. He does have another loss here, Anthony Hernandez by sub. But in all actuality, Anthony Hernandez is a really tricky grappler for a lot of guys. I mean, he submitted Rodolfo Vieira, who is an absolute savage jiu-jitsu champion. Anthony Hernandez is a savage on the ground. I think that Barriault can pull this off. Over 2.5 probably. Barriault by decision, all the way up at plus 400. But I do think Barriault wins. We're going Marc-Andre Barriault for the upset. I'm repping Canada in this matchup here, and I'm picking against Chris Curtis. Next fight, featured bout. Neil Magny, Mike Malott. My pick in this fight's going to be Mike Malott. I'm going with the masses. I'm going to believe in the prospect. I do think Mike Malott can get this fight to the floor. And when he does get this fight to the floor, I think he'll be successful in passing to dominant position and working towards a submission finish. I'm going to call Malott by submission. Now, look at the last 3 losses for Neil Magny. Submission, granted. Burns and Shavkat, top tier. And then a decision to Ian Garry. But Garry, primarily striking based, right? We see a lot of submission wins for the side of Mike Malott. 4 of his last 5 wins, subs. All 5 of his last fights, finish wins. I think Mike Malott's a damn good prospect. Right now, he's repping Canada. Now, people will say, oh, he's 32. He's better get into contendership soon. Well, this is the matchup. We're finding everything out. Neil Magny has always been historically that top 15, top 10 gatekeeper. And I think Mike Malott is ready to pass through the gate. I think it's his time now. And I'm going Mike Malott via sub. Looking at these guys on the scales here, though. Let's check them out. There's blurry Mike Malott. There's Neil Magny with a flex. No love for Mike Malott, though, with the picks, man. No secondary Mike Malott picture. The disrespect to Canada's own. Doesn't matter. He's going to win the fight. Here's the face-off. Nose to nose, no give. They're ready to go. Malott's going to be superior. Neil Magny's a good guy, and he's been around in the UFC forever at this point. But this is a bad matchup, and I think he's starting to dip as far as his game goes. I mean, the Phil Rose split decision wasn't great. Dominant loss that he had against Ian Garry, and now taking on a dangerous guy who can mix it up well, but definitely specifically in grappling. I think Malott's got this fight. He's a big favorite, too. Minus 400 for Malott, plus 300 for Neil Magny. I'm picking Mike Malott to pull it off. I think we're probably going under at minus 180. I think Malott via sub is plus 115. I like Malott by submission. Let's fucking go. Mike Malott to pull this one out. I think he can win the fight. I think he can get a submission finish. And let's go. I'm repping with Malott all day. Let's get it. Team Canada for the W in this one. Co-main event. Women's Bantamweight Championship on the line. Winner is determined with this fight here. We got Raquel Pennington versus Mayra Bueno Silva. My pick throughout the week has been Mayra Bueno Silva, and I am going to call win via submission for her. Raquel Pennington is like quietly flown under the radar. She's 5-0 in the last 5. I did personally feel as though Ketlen Vieira deserved the decision nod last time out, and I really think Vieira Bueno Silva should have been the fight here, but I'm not a judge in the UFC. Bueno Silva's on a 4-fight unbeaten streak. That no contest that she has is a ninja choke win over Holly Holm, which I think is aged beautifully because Holly Holm's MMA royalty. Holly Holm has 2 wins over Raquel Pennington. I think Mayra Bueno Silva is live to submit Pennington too. I think it's Bueno Silva's time. Statistically speaking, past 35 female fighters in title matches, not looking great. But granted, a lot of those fights have been against dominant champions, right? I think that Mayra Bueno Silva by submission, though, is quite live in this matchup, especially like 3rd round. I think she could find it here on Pennington. But note that Raquel is not an easy out, and she's like a well-rounded generalist who is not going to be easy to bully inside of the cage. She seems mentally with it and strong. Both girls seem ready to go. A lot of shit talk beforehand. Pennington saying Bueno Silva hasn't fought anybody. Bueno Silva talking about how Pennington's so boring. Hey, listen, not like Pennington's been the most entertaining fighter ever, so I can't knock her. The Macy Chiasson finish is like, as of recent to me, the most impressive W for her because she did submit Chiasson, but Bueno Silva with that Holly Holm win is riding high. I'm going Bueno Silva to get another submission here. I'll pick her to pull this one off. I think she's got the jits, and I think her Muay Thai competes well with Pennington's boxing-based striking. There's Bueno Silva on the scale. Bueno Silva cried multiple times throughout the embedded this week. She's an emotional girl. A lot of Pennington picks. All love for Pennington. Holy shit. Every pick is Pennington. Even if it's 240p for a bit. Let's look at this face-off between the ladies. It was actually a pretty savage face-off. Intense. Eye to eye. For Pennington, she knows this is her last shot. For Bueno Silva, I mean, she's looking to bring the belt back to Brazil and follow that Amanda Nunes legacy. There's a lot riding. There's pressure on both girls. I'm going to pick Bueno Silva to pull it off. I like the intensity. I think these girls are definitely ready to go, and I think that Bueno Silva can get the win. Now, as far as the odds, Bueno Silva's a bit of a favorite here, minus 164. Pennington plus 144 as a dog. Looking at Bueno Silva to win this fight by sub, I want to read the line off for you guys so you can see it. Not great. Plus 185. Yeah, that plus 6, that's wrong, bro. Jazz is not bringing those odds. If that's true, they're losing money because I think there's a real chance Bueno Silva locks up a sub. Let me get a sip of this water. We're going with Bueno Silva. We're going with submission. I think around the 3rd, she's going to pull this one out. Under 4.5 plus 115. I like Bueno Silva. Let's do it. We're going Bueno Silva for the W. She pulls this one off. Bueno Silva for the win. Submission W. Let's get it. All right, main event of the evening. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. We got Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis. Middleweight belt on the line. The pick for me has been Sean Strickland. I've gone as far as to say lock it for the week. And he's going to expose Dricus du Plessis in the stand-up department and fend off the grappling onslaught. I think Strickland will find a lot of straight shots through the guard on du Plessis. I think du Plessis is very dangerous early in the fight, and he's going to look to press Sean Strickland pretty soon as soon as the bell gets going. But I think Strickland can keep him off with big punches and make du Plessis pay. I also think Strickland can get active with pressure as well. Feel like this is the best shape we've seen Strickland in too. The way du Plessis fight is he brings the heat. It's, kill or be killed. Strickland, same type of style. Now, Strickland not known for his one-punch power, did drop Adesanya. But in this fight here, the way Dricus brings heat, I could see Strickland accumulating damage on Dricus and getting a stoppage in the 3rd or 4th round. So I'm going to go Sean Strickland with a TKO. Now, decision is definitely not crazy if you're on that side too, but nonetheless, the pick is going to be Strickland, man. I'm riding with him. I'm going with Deshaun Strickland. I'm not going with mythical fighter Nuno's Dricus. There's Dricus looking in good shape, ready to rock. I don't think he's the biggest 85er we've ever seen, like comparing him to like Paulo Costa or Romero, but he's definitely up there with size. Well-built dude, strong dude. He's flexing his abs out to everybody. Holy shit, we got a lot of pics of him. There he is. There's Sean Strickland. Good shape, ready to go. He looks as ripped as we've seen from him since his fucking welterweight days. I like the chances for Sean Strickland, guys. I'm picking Sean Strickland. Pretty interesting main event face-off. Sean Strickland didn't even get on the scale. They just announced his weight. Him and Dricus were staring each other down from long distance. Then they approached. There's the face-off. This looks like a championship-level face-off. Intensity up the ass here. Holy shit. Guys, I'm picking Sean Strickland to win this thing. I know Dricus looks jacked and intimidating. He looks ready to kill, but as is Sean Strickland. It was such an intense face-off. I think both these guys are ready to give it all they got. And honestly, I like what Dricus said. He wished for death. He gets it here. And Strickland knows they're going to bring heat. He mentioned how, you know, it's surprising he even got a microphone in Canada. I thought that was pretty funny. Sean Strickland for the win. And still, I think the belt's coming back to America. It's not Dricus' destiny to become the first African champion in the UFC. Sean Strickland just flipped to a slight underdog, -108, with Dricus at -112. We got pretty much even lines between these two, which I anticipated throughout the week. We saw Strickland at open at -190. Now we got even money. The dog side of Dricus has been bet heavy. I'm locking Sean Strickland in this fight, and now we got him as a damn underdog if you're betting it now, which is why I wanted to wait till weigh-ins to throw the hammer down, because I had a good feeling that these lines were going to become even by the end of the week. So let's get it. Sean Strickland for the win. I'm risking it. Fuck it. Let's go. I really think he's going to win. I think he exposes Dricus. The over 2.5 +120, I think that's murky water. I just like Strickland money line. Strickland to win via KO +180. Strickland to win by decision +300. Interesting. I got Sean Strickland. I'm riding with him. Deshaun Strickland +180 is the, you know, knockout call. But money line, Sean Strickland, locked this week. I got the new, not the new. I got the and still. I mean, he is the new champ, right? He just won the belt last fight. It's fair I call him the new because I'm so used to seeing Adesanya's face at the top of the weight class. Winner might be fighting Adesanya at 300. I have an inkling that if Strickland is victorious, they might try to set up a Khamzat Chimaev fight for 300. But we got to see what happens with this fight and make sure nobody comes out too beaten up after this fight, where both guys have agreed to fight to the death and go to war, which is what I'm going to expect here. Main event pick, Sean Strickland. We're not done just yet because we got to talk about some post-weigh-in parlays. I want to create some magic following the weigh-ins, all right? Mike Malott, I think he's got a very good chance to win this fight. Post-weigh-in, I think also Sidey has a great chance to win. +104. I think these two together is like a surefire hitter. Now, I want to add more heat to it. If you had the side of Brad Katona, you get +211. If you like the over in the Evloev fight, now you got +300, but I'll remove that over. Throwing in Bueno Silva, belt back in Brazil, believing in a little destiny here. What if we put Jimmy Flick, just to be savages? Let me go Jimmy Flick at the top. Jimmy Flick. Let's go Shawnee Boy, Sean Strickland. Let's go Mark Andre. +7,077. This right here is high-risk territory, but it's worth mentioning. I have to bring it up. Jasudavicius, definitely somebody you could add in, but like we have to be a little concerned about this weight class jump. Yohan Lainesse should find the finish here. I also think that like an under 2.5 would make sense in this one. +11,058. Robertson, straight down the line, +15,485. Woodson as a dog, too, to just go absolutely ballistic on this one. Yeah, now we've gone nuts with the damn full card. That's the full card, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? That's 11. We left out just one. Now I don't even realize which one did we leave out. Who do we leave out from our lineup? well, nonetheless, I think we got savagery. I think we got animalistic W's on the way. I think we're going to pull this one off this week, man. I got a good feeling. This is craziness, though. I'm not telling you to actually throw down at. The first one, I think, is like your higher likelihood of success, safer call. You want to go Sean Strickland. You want to go Malott, 2 guys on the main card. Maybe then you want to add in Sidey, too, plus 299. You want to play some type of over in a certain fight, maybe. You think Katona's is going long. You know, you're right with that one. Plus 500 money now. Is a little something, something. You don't like Strickland at the top? Well, it's still plus 211 for these 3 pieces, which I got a good feeling are going to come to fruition. Bet intelligently, guys. Don't go too ballistic, but, you know, sometimes you got to risk it like a savage to get yourself some big plus money back. I think it's going to be a good card. I'm looking forward to UFC 297. I think we got a banger in store. I'm excited to be live for the whole thing, so make sure you guys tune into that Fight Companion. Hope you guys enjoyed the weigh-in show. Make sure you guys smash the likes here. If you're new, subscribe. Turn those post notifications on, and don't just leave them on personalized. Put them on all so you don't miss a video, because I got daily content dropping on the channel, and you don't want to miss it. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you all tuning in. If you got nothing to say in the comments, but you just enjoy the content, drop a W in the chat to boost the algorithm for your boy. See you guys tomorrow, 297. Fight day. First pay-per-view of the year. Can't wait. Peace, everybody.